So coming back to the July painting challenge, getting towards the end now, I just thought I'd start to post up my final videos. First of all, carrying on from day 15 through to day 20 odd. What's your favourite hobby purchase from the past year? A single miniature, a vehicle or terrain kit, or a new game? It's basically some figures that I picked up from AB Miniatures. These figures that you see before you are minifigs, but I've also picked up some AB Miniatures as well as the usual Essex that I paint as well. And I just found that the AB Miniatures range are very nice. I haven't actually got any painted ready yet, but I'm hoping to complete some soon. And when they're done, I'll put them on the table to show you. Day 17, get your head out of the game. Share with us any non-hobby related interest of yours. Well, that would be for me, archaeology. I'm doing a study course in it, and also I do it as part of my day job. And I really love doing it. It's very interesting. It gives me a chance to sort of learn about new things in terms of history, and there's something to be said for the truth in it as well. When you find something and dig it out of the ground, or you look at something from a museum or what have you, then it's an actual artifact, and it has an authenticity to it. I can't really say much more than that without going all poetic, but that's why I'm interested in it. What's your favourite product to use now and why? Recent product that I've used that I quite like is this black shade wash that I picked up. Used to use the old GW black wash Null Oil, I think it's called, and I found that this is actually slightly better. It clings to the edges of the figure much more readily, and I found it's actually a really good thing to use. What else have we got here? Day 19. Share the reason why you love the hobby. Is it the painting, the building, the actual game, the community? We love it all. But what's the facet of our hobby that you particularly enjoy? Well, basically I just like to paint miniatures and then sort of build up a force. And to be honest, a lot of the gaming that I do solo. I have done a lot of group gaming in the past, but because I've moved several places, it's becoming more and more difficult to do that. And I just found that basically the easiest way to play is literally paint my own armies and have my own setup, because it's very difficult to, or can be very difficult to organise games with other gamers who may not want to paint the same thing as you, paint at different scales, paint different armies, and actually getting an opponent who wants to play anything at all is very, very difficult sometimes. So I would say that the most interesting aspect of the hobby is basically studying the armies and then coming up with an idea to build an army. I think that's, it takes a lot of preparation and patience to do that. And these people that have got huge armies for Napoleonics or for my period 30 years war or what have you, it's taken them a long time to get to that point, and it's a real dedication to the hobby. As you can see, I'm actually painting off a white tile. It's just an ordinary ceramic tile, and I actually find that as really useful as a painting tool. I know you can get plastic palettes and all the rest of it, but actually it's quite easy to put a little bit of dab paint onto this and then let it dry out, and then once you're finished with it, you can take it to the sink, scrub it off with a washing up pad, and it's clean and it's ready to go and it doesn't scratch. And it's a very easy thing to use. And I actually, when I travel around, I have a smaller version of the tile that I take with me that is, again, very easy to use. My big shared skills. So in terms of my wrap up for week 3, I think I'm doing fairly well for that. We've actually moved into week 4 now. The next question that I could really ask, in terms of what my favourite wargaming book is at the moment, I actually have this book, The Devil's Playground, which is a Pike and Shot supplement, 30 Years War, which I think is an excellent addition to the game. It's got loads of colour photographs. I believe they've just brought out an English Civil War version as well, which I'll probably pick up because, again, that's pretty much the same period and is also very useful. But as you can see, this book is just stacked full of really nice photographs, and also you get battles and OBs to go with the battles, order of battles. It just makes painting and collecting and planning really, really easy. I don't think you can say anything more than that, to be honest. So that's probably my favourite book at the moment. I have various painting guides that I like using to read a lot of novels, and obviously a lot for my for archaeology and for my other interest areas, which are history and art. And it's very difficult to say what my favourite book is because I tend to sort of go through periods of when I'm interested in one thing or another. In terms of the next question, what is your favourite game and why? It's very difficult to say that again because, again, it depends on the period. I actually like playing a lot of hex encounter games, even almost more so than miniature games. And particularly at the moment, I'm actually looking at the great battles of the American Civil War. This one in particular is Stonewall in the Shenandoah Valley. And as you can see, it's a complete change from miniatures, really, in the respects that what you use is a lot more basic. But the game, I find these overall strategy games are really interesting. This is an ancient magazine. I don't know how far back this is going, but it's quite a way. And as you can see, it's just stacked full of technical data, and I just find it really interesting. I have to say that sometimes I find some of the miniatures games are not quite as good as they could be, and they could take a lot of information. 1978, this one was published. Could take a lot of information from these hex encounter games and look at the period a lot more easily. So yes, that's my favourite book. Or as I say, if I'm reading or researching, then I actually come to the S&Ts quite often. I think what I'll do now is I'll look at the weekly wrap-up, which is actually week 4 wrap-up, since we're at the 28th. Did you achieve your goals? Well, as far as I'm concerned, yes, I did. It did take me a long time to paint them all, but I have painted all of my Napoleonic miniatures that I set out to do in the challenge for this week, and they're all done now. The more observant of you probably notice that there isn't a command group with this battalion, and that will require doing. What I'll do is I'll take out these 3 front figures and actually replace those with command figures. I just don't have any command figures to paint at the moment. I'm ordering different things, and I just forgot to pick up some French command figures, but I will do that. With some of the stuff that I'm ordering from AB, I'll probably be ordering some of their battalion packs, and it makes life a lot easier. I don't have to think about making sure that I order command packs to it in addition, because they actually come with the command figures, the commander, musician and standard bearer included. So I will be doing that fairly shortly. But as far as I'm concerned, I've definitely hit my targets for the week 4 challenge, and I'm very pleased with that. Will I be painting any more before the end of the project? Possibly. I've only got 3 days left now, and what I will be doing is just picking up through some bits and pieces that I've got. Probably some more 30 Years War that I've got ready to go here, and maybe some other bits and pieces, but I will be moving on to new projects. Again, I think I'll probably be splitting my projects halfway down the middle, so half will be 30 Years War figures, and the other half will be doing some more of these Napoleonics, which I think have actually come out quite nicely, and I'd like to do some more of these. I'm looking for more opponents for the French, obviously, so I'll be doing maybe some Russians or some Brits, depending on what I want to do, maybe even some Prussians eventually. But these are a very long-term project, and they're very time-consuming to paint. and I think that's probably as much as I want to say at the moment. I'll do a wrap up towards the end of into next week sometime, just to share what I've done and my thoughts on the project generally.